TOA and Fit Body community. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. Wanted to talk to you about some new updates on sarcopenia and the potential for a new drug that might be something that people could take, not have to go to the gym, and they could keep all their muscle mass. Could it be? Is that real? Anyway, we're going to dive into that here in just a minute. That first article that I talked about yesterday during a live stream, it kind of goes a little bit into forced bed rest. I just wanted to showcase this a little bit. For those that don't know what sarcopenia is, just a very quick review. Sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass to a point where you lose function. You can't move as quick or walk as fast or stand as tall or lift as much as you could before, because you're not using your muscles and your muscles start to shrink. And then because you don't have the muscle that you had, your ability to perform and do the things you used to be able to do aren't there anymore. Now, it's a very common, I'll say, misconception, I feel like, is that this only happens to old people, okay? And that's not the case. The majority of older people that don't really train really well, yeah, they all have sarcopenia. I'm gonna guess 80% of our country has sarcopenia of some form. But there are a great deal of young people right now I have seen cases in as late 20s, okay, of people. You see Whiskey back here hanging out with me. We're doing some inside hangouts, huh, buddy? Yeah. You could see that people in their late 20s getting sarcopenia because we sit and we're on our computers and our games, and they just don't exercise ever at all. And their muscles start to shrink because they're just not using them. So sarcopenia can affect people in their late 20s, early 30s, and then osteoporosis, or osteopenia at least, softening of bone, is pretty close behind that. All right, this article is from 2021, so it's about 3 years old, but it was a systematic review and a meta-analysis of sarcopenia forced bed rest or simulated forced bed rest. In many cases, I think they looked at 18 different studies in this one, and basically it came down to, 25 different studies. 118 healthy elderly volunteers underwent either a 5, a 7, a 10, or a 14-day BR, bed rest, and provided a brief sketch on basically what they experienced and what they felt as they went through. So they had self-reported surveyed results, but they also had actual testing where they tested their quad strength, hamstring strength, upper body push and pull. And then I think they measured their gait time and gait length as they went through this. And basically what came out of this was that after 7 to 10 days, there was a loss of, let me find it here. There was a loss, maybe it's on the previous one, back up in here. There we go, 1.5 kilos. See that right at the bottom? Overall, total lean body mass was decreased by 1.5 kilos. So every kilo is 2.2 pounds. So 1.5 times 2.2, you've got a little over 3 pounds of, 3.4 pounds of muscle mass, lean muscle mass that was lost in 7 to 10 days. So if you're 150 pounds and you lose 5 pounds, 3 pounds, somewhere in there over 10 to 14 days, that's a significant amount of muscle mass that you have lost. And now that functionality of that muscle is not going to be as good. Now, what happens if it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, a year? You can see how this can happen, especially through a pandemic or something like that, where we're going to have some, pretty traumatic events happening to people where maybe in your 50s and 60s, you're basically functioning like a typical 80 or 90-year-old because you're a huge fall risk and you're really weak and your gait step is really, really small, and just instability and weak strength and injuries just start to compile up and up because you're weak. Your body's not strong. So this was a pretty good review of that. 118 different people, gave you an average across the board. Now, again, these were elderly folks. So in younger bodies, is it going to be as aggressive? No. However, we're talking months, if not years, of these younger individuals. There was another study that I heard talked about in another podcast, but I could not find it. Dr. Mike Israetel talked about this, where I think it was 1.3 kilos of muscle mass lost in 40-year-olds that were, or no, 40, 50-year-olds that were put into like a forced bed rest situation. And in a week, 7 days, they lost 1.3 kilos in lean body mass. So definitely a problem. We definitely see that this is out there. 2023, this article came out. Age is just a number, progress and obstacles in the discovery of a new candidate drug for sarcopenia. So basically, their description of this, I can zoom in a little bit on this. Their description is sarcopenia is a disease characterized by the progressive loss of skeletal muscle mass and function that occurs with aging. Yes, we are on a decline, so that is a correct statement. However, it can occur with really young, inactive people too. That's why I want everybody to understand that this isn't just an older person like, I'm 40, I don't have to worry about this. If you're really, really inactive and deconditioned, you do need to think about it, okay? The progression of sarcopenia is correlated with the onset of physical disability, the inability to live independently, and increased mortality. So basically, you won't be able to move as well. You won't be able to live an independent life and go and do the things that you want to do, ideally, in retirement, etc. And the opportunity for you to die at a younger age due to disease or injury is much greater, up to 250% higher. Okay, due to global increases in lifespan and demographic aging in developed countries, sarcopenia has become a major socioeconomic burden. And thus, they've basically gone through and they are pursuing different drugs that might be potential candidates to help fight sarcopenia, if not stop it. So the types of drugs examined include, I'm going to butcher some of these, mitochondria targeting compounds, anti-diabetes agents, small molecules that target non-coding RNAs, and then protein therapeutics, natural products, and repositioning candidates. Now, some of those I don't even know what they are, but basically they are looking at different drugs. They didn't find one in this study, but they are finding different candidates or different types of drugs that might be beneficial. So let's take sarcopenia, let's take creatine as an example for a drug that you might be able to take, a supplement that you might be able to take to assist in sarcopenia. Not only does taking creatine, I keep wanting to say sarcopenia, because we're talking about that. Not only does taking creatine after the age of 50 benefit your body, but it also benefits your mind. Basically, creatine allows you to retain a great deal of water, and water is about 70% of the makeup of your musculature, and it's also a great deal, I don't know, percentages of your brain. So the more hydrated you are and the more retention of good water retention that you have, the better your brain's gonna function, the better your muscles are gonna function. So you might start taking creatine and be like, oh, it's just water weight. Well, yeah, that's the whole idea, is that I want to be able to retain a little bit more water, and that's gonna help my muscles rebuild. It's gonna give me a better opportunity to recover, so the next day when I train, I can train a little harder. It helps my joints, my ligaments, my tendons, all of that. Now, if I just take creatine and I don't train, is that gonna help me maintain muscle mass? No, it's not, okay? So that's, I think, where we get a little tricky, is that some of these drugs or some of the things they're going to pursue, I think they'll have really good opportunity to assist people in either maintaining muscle mass and or growing muscle mass into later ages in life, which is awesome. You should be taking creatine. You should be taking branched chain amino acids. You should be taking collagen. You should be taking daily fiber. I know that doesn't help so much with actual muscle or bone density, but it's going to help you processing your foods and keeping your whole system working well, which ultimately helps you with your hydration intake. It helps you sleep better at night. The whole system, anything and everything that can be processed into your body more efficiently is going to help your muscle mass retention. So also, as we age, the body has a little bit harder time processing protein, specifically more like a meat-based protein. So that's why a lot of people, as they age, they don't eat as much meat, because it's hard on their body to process it. Now, in some cases, that's because they are deconditioned and their bodies are becoming vulnerable. They're either diseased or they're just not efficient. I say diseased in an overall suggestion of you have a health issue, not there's anything, like you're a diseased individual. That's not what I mean. I mean, you have like an actual disease, right? Because you have a disease, your body's not going to be working as efficiently. Because you're deconditioned and super weak, your body is basically in this state of, I need to survive no matter what. So I'm going to put my energies into the basics to keep me alive. Brain function, heart function. We're not going to worry about bones and muscles right now because you're barely keeping this ship afloat. So in that type of effort, like what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? I got to put my best foot forward, keep the heart going, keep the brain going. That's about it. But if you're well nourished, well hydrated, you're sleeping good, you're putting good foods into your body, all natural, organic, least amount of processed foods you can put into your body, you're going to be great. And all natural fibers are fantastic. And if not, some type of supplement of fiber, will really help with that for sure. The least amount of medications you take, the better. Your body will have a less of a challenge in processing all that, and it only gives more energies into building better bone density, more muscle mass, and helping your brain function, heart function, lung function, etc. So long story short is, yes, some of these drugs that are going to be developed and are currently available will help you either build and or maintain muscle as you age. I'm a fan of it. Okay, I say go for it. You are not a professional athlete. You are not being drug tested to perform in some type of sport. So if you want to take creatine, which is a legal supplement for you to take, I'm not saying everybody needs to start doing steroids. I'm not saying go out and get some Dianabol and Winstrol and like start shooting up and rubbing the clear and the cream all over your, that's not what I mean. I mean, if you can take some supplements that will assist you in building your muscle mass, and then you're going to put in the work in the weight room 2, 3, 4 times a week to build that muscle, I'm all good on you, man. I'm all for it. Like, put in that work, build that muscle mass. I'm behind you. I think it's a great idea. And creatine is probably one of those that's, if not at the top of the chart, it is number one that I think everybody, especially aging individuals, should be taking. How much should you take? That can vary, but at least a gram a day, and I would say up to about 5, generally speaking. Some people can take more or less. And again, yes, you are going to gain a little bit of water weight, and that is okay. We're not worried about it after age 40, really. You're not worried about 1 or 2, maybe 3 pounds of water weight. Who cares? You can fluctuate that in a couple of days if you need to be really lean and look good for a photo. Don't worry about it. But the benefits you're going to get on the other side of having it and helping you while you train is going to be very beneficial. So keep that in mind. We don't want you to become a statistic. Keep an eye out for other supplements and some other suggested drug studies that are going to be on the market, I'm assuming, as these research studies show. But be very weary of a magic pill, right? That all I got to do is take this and it's going to help you maintain your muscle mass. It's going to, stimulate the mitochondria, and that's going to just keep the muscle fibers and the actin and myosin head engagement at an all-time high. I think that's a pipe dream. I don't think that's real. Okay, I don't think that's real. I don't think they can actually do something like that without causing fairly catastrophic damage on the other end, meaning your body is going to have to process whatever that is, and in doing that, I think it's going to damage you. Now, again, I'm talking a little bit out of school here because I don't know exactly what some of these drugs are or what's going to be in them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe down the line there is some miracle drug that's going to do it, but as far as I know and everything that I've looked into and the research that I've gone through, and I get to go through a lot of it, there's nothing out there that's like that. You need to take whatever supplements are here and put in the work. You've got to get in the weight room and lift to be able to reap the benefits of aging with good muscle mass and strong bones and keeping your function. Because the longer you can stay independent, the better life quality you're going to have. All right, gang, any comments, questions, you let me know. If not, I am Robert Linkul, and thank you for joining us here at TOA TrainingTheOlderAdult.com. Comments, questions in the comment section down below. Please like, subscribe, ring that bell, help us grow our community, and as always, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. We will see you next time. Take care.